include.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Fast Family Race Hub, episode 1. We haven't done one in a while. We actually didn't have any during the summer series, but here we are with a brand new season. This will be the 2020-21 season, and we've just completed, I believe, 6 weeks of racing, 7 races with our first doubleheader already over. But now is the time where we sit down and talk to some of the guys behind the wheel, and we can introduce some of them and get their personalities that you won't normally get on. So I'll just run through our guest list tonight. We got quite a few guests, being the first episode of the season. First of all, I got 2 Truck Series drivers / commentators. We have Arkham Boss 01 and Intimidator 8738 coming back to us once again. We also have truck driver Jersey Devil 53. And we have one Xfinity National Series Xfinity driver, Marsh Morrow, is in the house tonight. And then we have Extreme Shocks, a Cup Series driver. We also have Austin Icon 42, Cup Series driver, and one of our newest our newest Cup Series driver, Watt Racing 10, who had just moved up from the Truck Series. So we got a lot to talk about tonight, a lot of faces on the broadcast. So we're just going to jump right into it. So our first segment we're going to talk about tonight is the season beginning. What were, these drivers' goals for this season, and we're going to talk about, the last 7 races, how things have gone so far. So let's just start in the Truck Series with, let's talk to Arkham Boss, because you're one of the guys that, we're seeing have some great improvement this year. I know you had some goals of just finishing races during the summer, and now you've gotten some top 10. So, why don't you tell me, more about what your goals were for this season and, what you've experienced these first 7 races.
Well, my goal this season was just to improve on what I did in the summer series. Obviously, finishing races was the number one thing that I wanted to do, not be involved in the wrecks, and just try to be a clean racer. I've known this year, I've gotten into a few people, but that's just racing, and I gotta say I'm pretty proud of myself for cleaning up my racing a little bit. I know Michigan was a rough patch for everybody this year. So, as far as goals go, it's just finishing and competing to the best of my ability, Slide.
Did we lose?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, you definitely improved quite a bit from the summer series, and it's been evident not only in just your racing on the track, but also your finishes have started to stack up. So, congratulations on that, and I'm sure we'll get to hear a little bit more from you a little bit later about what you're looking forward to in the next bunch of weeks. So
I do want to note
good on you.
something before you move on to our next driver. If you remember, Slide, in the summer series, I was racing in a Toyota, and now I've transitioned over to a Ford. So that's kind of been a thing that I've been getting used to this year or this season.
Absolutely. I mean, I know with the teams this year, we're going to get into that in the next segment, but it's been a big transition for a lot of drivers, not just manufacturers, but working with different people. So, there's each season definitely creates new challenges, and I think, you're moving on to the next step for sure. Moving on, let's talk to a guy. He just made his first start back in Fast Family Racing League.
Ooh.
He did race a few others. He did a truck series race at Daytona quite a few months ago, and he also did it was actually the first race of the truck series, the inaugural race, and then he came back and did some fill-in work for myself in the Xfinity while I was away doing Pro League stuff. So, but he's back and he's ready to take on another full season. Intimidator, how does it feel to be back in the race car?
Well, definitely really excited. Like you just mentioned, running my first ever truck start in the inaugural race at Daytona. Placed that top 3 solid finish, was really happy with that. But then the reason why that I was away from the league so long afterwards is because a whole lot of hectic stuff started happening with my personal life. So I had to go tend with that first, because family comes first and everything else like that. But definitely really excited to be back behind the wheel. And then you mentioned also doing those fill-in races for you while you were doing the Pro League stuff. And then to finally be back here in the trucks where I began. It's just it's like a dream come true for me, and it's a new beginning, a new opportunity to work as hard as I can. I haven't been able to join leagues for a while because my work life, didn't really allow. But I have been having a lot more free weekends, so that gave me basically that ultimately in itself gave me the big opportunity to jump back into league racing, and definitely very excited. I just completed my first race back at the Roval on Sunday, and that was very exciting. Picked up a new sponsor after that, so new
Got a
sponsor,
top 10
new
finish
yeah,
also.
new sponsor. Rowdy Energy is on board my number 3 Chevy Silverado, and I'm just really excited to see what the future holds for me as far as that league itself and you know, the rest of the future for me in this league. I'm a guy that takes it one day, one race at a time. So we'll just see what plans out. But
Absolutely.
I'm very excited to be back, and I appreciate you welcoming me back too.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we're definitely glad to have you back, and I can't wait to see what you can do. We'll hear from you a little bit later about what your goals are for the rest of the season, but we're definitely glad to have you back with us. All right, let's move on to our final truck driver of the night. Jersey, I know, one of your goals was the same as last season, but even more urgent than with this season was to win a race, and boy, did you ever. Why don't you take us through, what your mindset was coming into this season and just that day in itself.
The mindset was well. I didn't run the summer series, and I had a decent season last season, especially in the playoffs. I got hot when it counted, but I missed the final four by 1 point to the eventual champion of the truck series. And I took the summer series off, and then I said I got a lot of things going on in my personal life as well, and I wasn't sure if I was going to run the full season this year. And we went to Daytona. We ran well. We went to Canadian Tire. Had a great run going until the motor let go. And I thought we were just going to do bare minimum this year, start and park. But after we got that win at Michigan, and the Michigan race was an uphill battle, and I think everybody could agree to that statement because that race was
Oh yeah.
a disaster all the way around. I think I started 15th because qualifying, I missed turn 1 in qualifying, and I ended up just doing some pit strategy and listening to the officials on the radio, and was able to get to the front and stay there. and got the win. And now with that win, I really think that changed things, and we're gonna run for the championship now. I heard that a couple of guys moved up into the national series, into the Cup series, and that kind of leaves the points lead to me. I was in third in points, I believe, and them guys, you know, taking the door, moving up. I got the points lead now, so we're gonna try to hold on to that and try to win some more races, and we'll see where the season goes. Real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out for, and I've been saying this for a few weeks now. Couple of drivers that I think are the most improved from last season are KR and Slushy. They have come a really long way, and my hat is off to them guys for running a lot better than what they did last year.
Oh yeah, and hopefully we'll have the good fortune to be able to talk to them on one of these race hubs and just get some insight into, how they've improved so much. And I know that Michigan race was pretty special to you too, because I remember, that was, one of your string of second place finishes, but
Yep.
it was one of the really first chances that you had an opportunity to win, and you were able to come back to the very same track and get the win. So I'm sure that felt really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It felt good. I said in my post-race interview after I won Michigan that the race at Michigan last year and the one this year were two totally different races because of all the wrecks and the crashes and the cautions that happened in this race, and it was just determination and good pit crew, and thank the guys at MSJ Motorsports for giving me the opportunity to drive for them and finally get mechanics wear nationwide all in victory lane.
Absolutely, and I think just another season under the belt, and just the experience has helped you, just improve, and it just goes to show that sometimes, or not sometimes, almost every time, you go to a track for a second time and it's a completely different race, and that experience that you've gained over the past couple of seasons has given you the chance to be able to adapt to different races and what's happening around you. So well, we can't wait to see what you can do fighting for a championship this year, because you'll be in the playoffs with that win. And moving on, we're talking to a guy that has a couple of wins. We have Marsh Morrow, who's one of the leading National Series drivers in the series. He's won, tied for the most races. He's been fantastic in almost every race that he's been in. So, Marsh, I know you stepped up from the Truck Series, and everyone was like, okay, he did a decent job in the trucks, but didn't have quite the success. I know you made a comment that, it was funny that you didn't win a race in the Truck Series, but you come here and you win multiple races in the National Series. So kind of take us through, what the transition, has been, what are the differences between the series, and, what your goals were coming into this new season.
Yeah, so the truck series, when I was in it in the summer series, that was really like the first time I ever joined a league. Previously, like I'd never thought about it because I knew my connection was pretty bad then, and it was still kind of bad then during the summer series because I missed half the races trying to transition from internet providers. So lag was always a big issue on my part. So I never got a win in the truck series, although I feel like I could have, but it didn't happen. That's okay, and I got asked to move up to the Xfinity or National, and I didn't think I'd have a win by now. It's just I guess it goes to show like just I've been improving, by myself, and running with other guys like U-Slide, T-Glass, in other leagues as well. So all that racing, all that competitiveness, it's helped me improve my skill as a driver. So yeah, I can say that 2 wins in the Xfinity Series or the National Series has been really good. It's really good competition. So it was also really good competition in the Truck Series. In the National Series, we have I'm tied with Optic right now. Optic Goblin for wins. He's fast. Siege Tempest, he has a win now. He took one of the Phoenix doubleheaders, the second one. So there's a lot of fast guys all over the series, all over 3 series in general. So um, yeah, happy to be part of it.
Absolutely, and I know a lot of people are so far in the season pointing to you as, becoming one of the rising stars to make it into the Cup Series, just because, National Series is really looked upon for that kind of thing, and you've been flat out dominating some of these races. I know you and Optic Goblin have been battling quite a bit, and you were able to get the better of them in a couple races there. So I know it's been
Hmm.
fun to watch you guys. So we'll see what the future holds for you. But right now you've been impressive.
Thank you, appreciate that.
No problem. Moving on, let's talk to moving up. Talking about the Cup Series, let's talk to a guy that hasn't made a Cup start yet, but he just signed the dotted line and said, "I am a Cup Series driver." So, Watt Racing, we've been following you for a couple seasons now. I know last season you said, "Oh, I'm gonna run a couple of races to get used to the guys," and ended up running almost the entire season. And you did fantastic. You won only one race. I know you were a little bit disappointed, but you got the win at Martinsville in your first season, which was awesome. And then you come into this season, you said, "I'm going to be a full-time Truck Series driver right from the get-go." And you come in and you win multiple races. So I know, that felt good for you, and you've done, significant in all the other races that you didn't win. So, take us through, first of all, just, what the Truck Series has been like so far, and, what your initial goal was. And then when you were approached about the offer to the Cup Series, which we're excited about, tell us, what went into that decision.
Yeah, that's a lot to try to answer. So basically, I ran a couple years in NNR, and then I was been a big part of Fast and Loud. Those kind of were the two leagues that I got into and then found success in, and ran multiple seasons with them, and gained a lot of experience and things like that. And then was going to walk away from that and join Fast Family, and I was juggling in the summer series, trying to just learn you guys, try to come in and race clean, gain respect, but also try to see if I could win some races. So um, I'm just really focused on my racing. I love getting on here. I love taking the green flag and just going and trying to beat anybody that's on the game. And if I can't, try to figure out what I could do differently, so on and so forth. So I've been playing these games since I was literally a little kid. I'm 34 years old. I've been playing every single game that's come out. NASCAR games. I've played Formula One games and Forza and blah blah blah. It's just been my hobby. In the last 3 or 4 years, I've been lucky enough to start competing, online with people, and I've been able to take all that experience and put that into this. So talking about the goals for now, this week kind of threw me on my head because I was focused on running trucks still. That's what I was already scheduled to do in my real life. Sunday, Monday nights are for racing. So my goal was just come in and do the best I could and win races, basically. And now I'm in a deep, deep, deep hole by joining Cup. But I'm going to show up and do the exact same thing that I did in the trucks. I just raced for a championship last night in the Cup Series with some of my personal opinions, some of the fastest guys I've ever raced. So I don't think there's going to be any challenge or anything like that as far as, I've been around too long. So I'm just excited to come in and do the exact same thing. Just try to win and get into the chase.
Absolutely. I know it's going to be a different experience, a different crowd, but, same drivers that you've seen in and out, whether you've raced with them in the Truck Series when, they were there, or some Cup Series drivers doing their Kyle Busch rule races there. So I'm sure it's going to present some challenges, and I know you're in a points hole right now, but I think a lot of people are confident and are going to be keeping their eyes on you to see what you can do.
Yeah.
And hey, we saw last season, we saw a driver come into the Cup Series week 9 and make it to the Final Four with a shot at the championship. So we can't imagine that we don't see a repeat of that. Who knows?
I want to say
So-
real quick, I hope that at least, like, I've not been here for a long time in this league, but I hope everybody knows, like, I'm going to race Steve clean. I'm going to hold my line. I'm not going to cause problems, but, I'm also very, very competitive, and I'm aware that I've got years of experience doing these games and racing, and, I just try to mold that all in together. I try to be very much like Ricky Rudd. Ricky Rudd was my idol growing up as a kid. Very quiet, clean, smooth, just try to stay out of trouble and do your thing. And that's kind of my style. So hopefully nobody's, gotten angry or nothing at me. I know I got a little angry at Michigan. I was frustrated and I, kind of made a bonehead move a little bit, but I love,
we all make
just passionate,
mistakes,
just passion, man. That's it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's, if you look at any one of the Cup drivers, it's not that they have, more skill than anyone, because they have tons of experience, somewhat more experience than others. But, what really, I guess centers around it is just the passion. These are
Yeah.
people that are so passionate about what they do that they put in the time and the practice and the equipment and whatever they got to do to be the best. And that's,
Absolutely.
you definitely fit that mold, and we just can't wait to see what you can do this season, really.
I'm ready to go. Are we about to race right now?
Yeah, right. Let's
kidding.
just hop in the car. See ya.
I tell you,
All right.
he's fast. He is definitely fast. He's a couple wins in the truck
Yeah.
already, and
Jersey knows firsthand.
Yep.
You've raced him several times.
Exactly, and we've beat doors a couple times, but like he said, it's not on purpose. He could hold a smoother line than I can. I'm on a darn controller, but I got into him once or twice, and it's no harm, no foul. It's not like we're putting each other in the wall on purpose or anything like that. So
Absolutely. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be fun to watch. And talking about fun to watch and success, we have the guy that sits third in points right now in the Cup Series. He's won one race. He's been in position to win almost all of them, if not all of them. I mean, if you look at his average finish, it's disgusting. But, you saw him last night in the Roval lead so many laps, and unfortunately didn't come up with the victory. I know he was very disappointed in himself, but just look at the numbers and the stats. Extreme, you've had a ridiculous season this season after winning the National Series Championship last year by storm in that last race. And you've just, upset almost everyone that's been in the Cup Series last season. So, tell us, what it was like to transition after, winning that championship. What did you expect was going to happen in the Cup Series, and how have you kept this success rolling?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the Xfinity Series was a huge learning transition for me, just not really having much league experience and, racing a bunch of super competitive guys like Austin himself, both of us battling for the championship, but I definitely learned a lot of things. And rolling over, winning, me and Austin, I think, tied for amount of wins, like 5 or something, and then rolling over the Cup Series, I knew the amount of competition and just the, like, intensity was going to be huge, completely different levels, I was definitely ready to take on the challenge. Definitely there was lots of nerves going into those races. And like I said, I mean, it's been super competitive. I try to put in tons of practice each week. Definitely been seeing it paying off. Been going through, I mean, you could say it's a rough patch, even though, like you said, the numbers don't really show it, but it's just some mistakes we've been making. But I think it's definitely been a very fun experience, and I've had a blast so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you only finished in, I believe, if I'm correct, one race outside the top 5 this season. And only, I think in your career, only 3 races outside the top 10. So I know you haven't had a super long career as some of the other guys have, but, you know, you're putting up some crazy numbers, and, you know, you're definitely, a lot of people have said, you know, you and a couple of others are definitely, you know, sure bets for the Final Four. So, you know, I know it comes with a lot of pressure, but, you know, you seem to be handling it pretty well. My only last question for you with that topic is, you know, you talked about you thought the competition was going to be stiffer than the national series. So, you know, did it meet your expectation, or, you know, was it less or more? What did you think?
Oh, I definitely think it was more. You know, the Xfinity, like I said, it was super competitive, but the Cup Series is exactly what I thought it would be. Just a lot more consistent riders. I mean, like I said, I made one mistake at Michigan, and I went from second to the last guy on the lead lap off of like one spin out. I mean, it's a league where you can't make many mistakes, and especially the big ones like that. So it just always keeps you on your toes like the whole race.
Absolutely. You know, we've talked about it in and out of the broadcast booth. You know, to win one of these Cup Series races, you cannot make a mistake. It just, and I mean, we were talking about the Roval and how that's almost an unavoidable place, but, you know, that's a place where you minimize the guy with the least mistakes. But, you know, for most places, especially mentioning Michigan, you just can't. You can't make a mistake, and that's just how good the competition is. And talking about your competition, you know, let's talk to the guy who is the current points leader, a guy who's won 3 races, tied for most in the season so far, and another guy that, you know, he barely finishes out of the top 5 ever. So, you know, Austin, I know you were kind of bummed after finishing second in the National Series championship, but you came into the Cup Series and you've been dominant as well, another one, and you've gotten to battle your buddy Extreme there. So, you know, kind of take us through, you know, what your kind of goal was for this season, how you were going to approach it, and, you know, how you've just kept up the success winning all these races.
So, I think for me, it's just definitely it was a big adjustment. Moving up, not so much as the fastest. Like, I feel like Extreme's still at the top, like in National. But once you got past the top 4 or 5 guys in National, there's a huge difference. Like Extreme said, if he had made that mistake in National, he probably could have still finished 6th, 7th, because there was such a huge gap between those up front and those in the back. And just seeing that difference, I feel like makes it more exciting. Having more people who are running up front, different people finishing up front. I try to focus on not just being smart as far as driving fast, but I know no one is ignorant to the fact that I am good at saving fuel and tires if I need to, and I try to put a lot of stress on that. Because I feel like that's what it takes to be all around successful, because if I can't lose to someone on fuel strategy and only focus on driving fast. So I just think I pride myself on being the best I can be all around. I unfortunately don't have as much free time as others, so I don't get to put in a lot of practice when it comes to setups and stuff like that. Most of what I run during these races are almost straight off the preset or minor adjustments I make during the race. There's an occasion I may look up something online to try to get a starting point, but majority of the time it's preset with adjustments. Typically, that's probably why, I'm sure as many have seen, I tend to run way better, comparatively speaking, in the first run of the race than later, because I do not have predetermined setups. But I still feel like I can run up front pretty much
most of the time. I think I've only finished outside of the top 3 once so far this season, and that was Daytona. Um, so really enjoying it, just working on improving on the setups when I can manage to find some free time.
Yeah, I know that's definitely a factor, but haven't let that stop you at all. And you talked about strategy. I think a huge day for you, or night per se, you would say, is was Phoenix. I mean, you came out there and you won both, and a lot of people were talking before the doubleheaders even came, like, oh man, can you imagine if somebody won both and was able to capitalize on the points? And you really shined that day, as well as your other win at Canadian Tire. But I think, the thing that, I think you mentioned it a little bit, talking about just being all around great. And I think that's been a real a tribute to your success, is that, you've won on ovals, and you've won, or not just won, but done well on ovals and road courses and all types of tracks. And that's, at the end of the day, that in most cases turns out to be championship material, where you can just be competitive everywhere. And it's evident already with Phoenix being technically a short track in a lot of people's opinion, and then you go to Canadian Tire and win there. And we saw how strong you were last night at the Roval. So it's definitely interesting. What do you think of your skills allows you to become, good at the different tracks? For those that may be struggling in an area, what is it that, do you think it's just your driving style, or did you, put stress on certain types of tracks that you felt like you weren't that great at?
Well, on this game with the road courses, I had to put in a decent amount of practice, especially since prior to the series, I really only ran on the road courses that the Cup Series ran on, so Canadian and Road America, those kind of tracks I had never even run on at all, so the road courses took quite a bit of practice, but I think what helps is I really focus on not over driving corners, and not just on road courses, on any track. I focus pretty much everywhere on exit speed. On no matter what it is, I focus on getting off the corner well. And I think that's why road courses I was able to pick up quick, because I enter the corner easier than just about anybody, but I can get off the corner really well, and I can usually gap anybody on exit. And I just think I focus on trying to be as smooth as possible, and I think that really helps me when it comes to saving. Phoenix wasn't a fuel thing, that was all tires, and helping me making sure I just stayed smooth, didn't burn off any of the tires, keeping the tire temps down. It's really what helped me out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that, and combined with just, the strategy smarts, and just, conserving your stuff with the way you approach it. I mean, that's deadly combination. No surprise you are the points leader right now, and just like Extreme, you're another driver that a lot of people are looking towards for that Final Four. So, we'll see. Anything can happen, obviously, but we wish you continued success, and can't wait to see what you got in store for the rest of the races.
Awesome.
All right, we're moving on to our next segment. We're going to talk about teams. It's been a big topic of discussion this year, and it's a new facet to Fast Family Racing League. It's been making the competition, I would say, more competitive, also more unified, and an interesting topic. So we're just going to go back through the field a little bit and talk to at least a few drivers from the few different teams, and how their team really approached different races. So Arkham, you're part of Premium Montez Racing League, who is headed by Zachary, now with T-Glass right for the moment. Why don't you take us a look at PMR and, kind of how your organization works together and, some of your best attributes as a team.
Yeah, well, first of all, coming into the whole team ordeal for Fast Family Racing League, I was actually one of the guys that was hoping that it would come to fruition, because when I was in the Summer League, I didn't really have a lot of help. I was kind of independent driver, trying to practice as much as I could. And then when the whole team thing came, it just really helped me out a lot. As far as, my racing team and how we're handling this season, we're just taking it week by week, and I feel like that's what you have to do in a league like this that is so competitive, especially with the other teams around. We've had some communication issues. We've been trying to work out some kinks and some bugs that are happening in the team at the moment. Obviously, Zachary is not leading it right now because of personal reasons. T-Glass is kind of the substitute, if you will, to our team leading staff. So it's definitely a work in progress, but teams, it's really a great addition to this league slide.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, it really, like you said, helps a lot of drivers out, working together, breeding camaraderie, and just another, facet of competition in this league. And I think it's been great. It's caused a little bit more frustration sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's more realistic, and I think it's in the end, it's worth it, And we're seeing the fruits of that coming up. So that's pretty awesome to hear. Let's talk to Marshmallow. You're a part of Blur Racing Team, started by Merkel Iceman, Team Swish, now the owner of that organization. Why don't you take us on a little bit of a journey through Blur and how that team is coming along?
Well, we've been doing pretty decent. We've had a couple, setbacks with people dropping out or people dropping out of the league for their own personal issues. Like we recently added Mustang to the team, and then he recently dropped from the league because of something going on with him. Other than that, we do a pretty good job of communicating with each other. We have a group chat on Facebook, and pretty much everything that goes down we discuss there, and we always ask each other, what times we're running, or when do we want to hop on and run some laps and practice, stuff like that, and always wishing people good luck in their respective races and their respective series. So a lot of camaraderie there, a lot of family in there. So love to see it.
Absolutely, yeah, that definitely a great organization, and I'm sure with new recruitment and people moving up, you'll be able to fill some slots and be able to grow even bigger.
Absolutely.
And, yep. Moving on, let's talk to Extreme Shocks, who is a cup driver for MSJ Motorsports. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that organization and how they've been pretty successful this season?
Yeah, I think MSJ. I mean, I love the team from the truck guys to the Xfinity Even Cup. I think what makes our success so great is just the bond that we've all built together and the communication that we share upon one another when it comes to setups, times, and just yeah. I mean, everyone just really working together because I was the newest guy coming to Cup, and I knew these three at least had some cup experience, so I was just a little worried about that. But they've really just brought me along into them and being basically like brothers and family. And I really enjoy and think we just honestly have fun during these races, just talking, and it's been a blast.
Oh yeah, just from my own personal experience, listening to the MSJ party during the race can get kind of wild sometimes. So. We definitely have some fun over there.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, We are a fast family for a reason. Family's a big part of that, and having fun. And finally, we'll talk to Austin again for Big Belly Racing. That's been the most successful organization so far. So why don't you take us a little bit of a tour in that team and what has led to so much success over there as well?
To be honest, our big success came from our national, and especially our truck guys with Watt there. Obviously, that's changing now, and hopefully he can bring that same success up to Cup. But just, I think the biggest thing is just attendance. We have our guys, almost every single person in every series show up for every race, and I think the only exception is SG missed one, and just this last week, a couple missed the Roval. But our guys are always there. The trucks, they're always up front. I'd say we work fairly well together, pretty cohesive. We communicate really well and try to help out when people need it. So I do think it kind of brought some camaraderie that wouldn't be there otherwise having the teams. But I just think having people you can depend on is what sets our team apart. Just everyone always being involved.
Absolutely. That's really the key to any kind of group is the teamwork and the willingness to lend a hand and build and help each other where we can. And it's been awesome. And I want to note one more note on teams before we move on to the last segment. I think it's pretty interesting to note that we do have one Chevy team, one Toyota team, and 3 Ford teams. And there was a lot of talk before the season started saying, oh man, the Fords outnumber everyone and they're going to dominate. And so far, I believe, at least in the Cup Series, the only Ford win was in the Daytona Shootout. So pretty interesting. I know Marsh has pulled some wins for the Ford camp in the National Series, but it's definitely been pretty interesting to watch. But I'm sure they will rally together and come back swinging. And we'll move on to our last topic of the night. Our last topic is the future because, like I said, we've only been through 7 races so far, or 7 weeks, really, and 6 weeks. So that means we still have 23 weeks left, and so we're not even close to halfway done. Plenty of racing left, so we're going to talk about future goals and approaches. So let's swing back to Intimidator. I know you just completed your first race, so I'm sure you have quite a few goals for this season. Why don't you tell us, how you're going to prepare, approach the rest of the season, and, what your goals are when the season's over.
Well, I'd honestly like to start off by saying, I was listening to you guys talk about teams, and right now, as far as the truck league goes, I am still classified as a free agent. No team has picked me up just yet up to this point, and so that leads me to saying another thing. I like being kind of known as the underdog, that just kind of like one of you guys that talked about former driver Ricky Rudd. Didn't make that much noise. Just kind of stay quiet and just focus on what needed to be done. And I just think that, as long as I can, whether if I get picked up on a team this season or not, regardless of that outcome, I'm here to just do the best I can. And, a lot of, I'd say, newer guys like me would have a mindset of, hey, just take your time. Don't go hard pace just yet. I am not like that. Ever since my first league race that I had ever run, it's been nothing but full throttle, 100% effort to the best of my ability. And in my opinion, that will only be able to prevail not just me, but any other driver, no matter what league or division they're in, if you give it your full effort, you're going to prevail forward somewhere. If you're just sitting there half throttling, even in just your second or third league race ever, that's not going to get you anywhere that much. And I'm just all about working, as hard as I can and turning some heads around and just, making a lot of noise. And especially if I were to remain as a free agent this whole season in the trucks, even to make the playoffs, that would probably get some attention. So I'm just basically sitting here and just trying to focus on what I can do to make myself better. And another big factor that I'm going to bring up, not just about me, but everybody else, is points, points, points. I'm not running for team points because, again, I'm a free agent guy, but I am running points for myself. And I'm still having a shot to contend for the title and get to the playoffs. That is another big goal of mine, to make the
Absolutely.
playoffs, especially in my first official full-length season in the trucks. To make the playoffs and you know just to make that would be one of my ultimate goals for this season. If I make the championship four, that would definitely be like a huge step in the right direction. And
Absolutely.
obviously to win the title. I know I sound like I'm just speculating when I talk about winning the title, but if it
Hey,
were to,
shoot for the stars, I always say.
that's right, that's right. And you know, little sidetrack here. There's a song that my favorite country singer wrote, and the line is "Chase the sun for the stars," and that is what I want to do. Um, you know, in the remaining races that I have, and you know, this, and I'll be finished with this. If I could be able to pull all that off, make the playoffs, even if I don't end up making a championship four or not winning the title, if I do make the four, if I do all that and not get signed by a team this whole season, I don't know about you guys, but I honestly think that would definitely make a huge statement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't give you a championship tonight, but what I can do is make one of your goals come true. Breaking news, Diamond in Motorsports just signed you. So congratulations.
Well, hey, thank you. And on that note, since you just notified me about that, now it's going to be, obviously free agents now going out the window. So now, for me at least, it's going to be working with my teammates and just seeing what we can come up with together. I know plate tracks like Daytona and Talladega, obviously teammates are going to be doing everything that they can to work together. Obviously until the last lap. I mean, duh. But, I'm just really excited for this opportunity. And I would probably say my top three, and I promise I'll be done with this, but my top three goals to achieve for this season is make the playoffs, no matter if I if I get kicked, no, eliminated after the first or second round or whatnot. Um, that'd probably be my highest. If I don't have a championship winning truck, that would be my highest goal, my first one, to make the playoffs. Second goal is to, I got a string of top tens going. I think I've ran a total of four
That's
races
correct.
in all of Fast Family, trucks and Xfinity. In all four of those races, I've been able to place a top 10. So definitely want to keep that going. That's goal number
That's
two
because there
for
was
me.
only 10 trucks.
Ha ha ha. Nah, there was actually 21 last week. It was quite
I'm
a
busting his
quite
balls.
a, I know, I
I
know, I
love
know.
Intimidator.
Typical Jersey Devil, always cracking jokes.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But hey, that's a great goal. Top tens. A streak is really hard to do. You can talk to Boots to Asses and myself have had more top tens than anyone in the series or in Fast Family Racing League. So it's definitely not easy to do, and that's a great goal. And why don't we we talked to your cohort in the truck series, Arkham. We talked about your goals
Wait a minute,
coming into the season.
So
Oh,
my
sorry.
third.
You had one
No, it's
more?
okay.
What was your
Yeah,
third?
I got one more goal, and then I promise I'll just talk to Arkham. My third and final goal for this season, and this will probably sound to at least a lot of people in this league alone, at least as a more mature goal to have, and that's to race hard as I can, but keep it clean too. There are some league drivers that are out there, not in this league, but I've seen it in a couple of other leagues that I've been a part of before as well. A couple drivers, will just want to try and just do something silly, and there's a YouTuber called Drive Through, and he likes to call that the clown moves that some league drivers pull off. And I remember when I had my own league several months ago that we had a race at ISM or something like that, and a couple drivers just pulled flat out clown moves. And honestly, in my opinion, that's not how you're gonna make friends. In fact, you're gonna make more rivals doing that more than anything. So that's just common sense. So with that being said, I want to make sure that I'm running as hard as I can, but also try to make as few enemies as possible. I know that's the topic of today's modern racing. I know it's not like old school, or if you Dale Earnhardt and you could bump or wreck Jeff Gordon. It's not like that anymore these days. So just try to keep my reputation clean and on a positive note. So yeah, those are my three goals.
Those are some good goals to have. Absolutely. So, Arkham, why don't you tell us what your goals are for the rest of the season?
Well, my goals for the rest of the season, and I'm just going to make it short and quick here, it's just continue driving, continue improving, try to get better positions, of course, try to make the playoffs. I think that's everybody's goal. But overall, just be a good teammate. I've been trying in my team to, help others out and try to get them on the same page and say, hey, yeah, you tried this, but maybe you should try this, But at the end of the day, I think it's just improving my racing style. And with that, I think that's my goals.
Those are some really good ones. I like that, being a good teammate. That's definitely a good goal, especially with the unveiling of that this season. Moving on to Jersey Devil, you checked one box this year already with the win. So what's next?
5 wins, maybe 6 wins. That's five wins, I think, and make the final 4. Those are 2 goals. Like you said, I already met 1, so why not raise the bar a little higher and go for 5. I mean, we had you last year. You had a few wins. Creech had a bunch of wins last year, so it's definitely possible to have multiple win seasons. And not just like 2 wins or 3 wins. There's some guys in this league that get up there and have 5, 7, 8 wins in the season. So why not set the goal for 5? And if
in a
we
row.
hit 5, 5, in a row.
5 in a row.
And if we hit 5, then we'll raise the bar to 10. We'll just keep setting the bar higher because our team, we have a great team, and everybody around me, we all help each other out. I surrounded myself with some good people with the team that I'm on, so I'm happy with that. And we'll see where the season takes us. I actually, here's a goal: a top 5 at my worst track of Martinsville would be amazing.
And some redemption, and that's the race where you lost that point for the Final 4. So
yep,
very nice.
Yep,
very nice.
It's not gonna happen, but we'll try.
Well, hey, like we said, shoot for the stars, and you guys heard it first. Jersey Devil.
Can I say something to Jersey?
Hold on, Jersey Devil's gonna be on the drive for 5 this year.
And Absolutely.
All right, real quick, Arkham, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Oh, I was gonna say, Jersey, that goal, trying to get top 5 at Martinsville.
Yes, sir.
I think you really have a good chance at doing that, man. You know, the way I've been seeing you race the last couple of races and knowing all the knowledge you know about NASCAR and whatnot, I really think that I wouldn't be surprised if you did it.
I appreciate it. I really do. That means a lot, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Moving on, National Series, Marsh. I know you've checked a couple of boxes, getting a couple wins. So, why don't you tell us, what are you looking forward to for the rest of the season?
Well, Slide, I woke up to your message saying that you'd requested or offered me to move up to the Cup Series, and I told you I needed some time to think about it, and not just being in this party and talking to all you guys and being in here, just a lot of these Cup guys. So it makes me just want to. I want to accept the offer because it just sounds like a very, very, very competitive. The National Series is already competitive. You know, everything is competitive, but it's just, I don't know. I like the challenge. These Cup cars are a lot faster, and so I just, if I stayed in the National Series, I feel like I could seriously be a championship contender. But even if I moved up to the Cup and started from scratch a few races late, and somehow did pretty well, made the playoffs and all that, I feel like it'd be a pretty good story. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we got tons of breaking news today. We got 2 new Cup drivers, so we can't wait to see what you guys do and making your first starts. And I'm sure a win over there would mean more, and I'm sure that's on the list there for you. So
The only thing we're missing is the
congratulations with that.
Stanford band.
Yeah, right. All right, moving on. I know, Watt, you've got some wins this year in the trucks, and you're moving on to the Cup. So take us through, what your goals are for the Cup Series.
Well, hopefully win as soon as possible so that I can lock
Let me
myself
guess,
in.
win every race.
No.
No.
I wish I never said that, but
I know. I'm gonna not let you live it down.
I'm usually more humble than that. But I was pretty excited for that win. But regardless, listen, I think about my overall experience that I've had. I just literally, like I've said before, I just ran a championship race in a Cup Series league. I ran for 3 years. I finished second all 3 years for the championship in that league. So,
Oh man.
And so I didn't quite get that satisfaction for I want a Cup championship on Xbox NASCAR Heat. That's something
there
that
it
I've been
is.
chasing, and also I was looking at the schedule ahead, and I finished second a few times in the Brickyard in that same league too, and that is my favorite racetrack, my favorite race, and that's kind of going by the wayside in real life, So I don't have an online Brickyard 400, quote unquote, and now
And you
I
got
have the
2
opportunity.
chances this year.
Yes. So those have been my 2 heartbreaks in other leagues for many years, where I've been in position to do that. So personally, those are my 2 things. But absolutely, I've never missed the Final Four in any league that I've been in any season. So this is going to be maybe the most challenging because I'm 7 races behind.
Yeah.
So. I do set the bar high for myself just because, I've done this, I've had those kind of successes. So I'm here to immediately win. If I can't win, I'll just keep pushing. You got to remind yourself that it's not going to all be like that. You can't expect to be winning all those races and things. You have to realize you're going to have bad races and you may just get flat out whooped. You might get beat, and that's okay. But I'm
That's
showing
when
up.
you learn.
I'm showing up on Monday at Texas to challenge for the win, and then I'm going to show up the next week at Loudon and Indy and Sonoma and Martinsville and so on and so forth. And I'm going to try to get a W and get locked in at least, gain respect in the Cup Series, and just do my thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think, one of the great things about Fast Family is you got quite a bit of time to do it. I mean, we got 3 more double headers. You talked about Indy. That's one of them coming up. So plenty of races to go to. And I think, the other thing you mentioned is that some weeks you're going to get beat, and we go to every track. And everybody has those few tracks where you're like, man, I just suck here. And so there's going to be those days, but
Oh,
it's really going to be what can you do on those days.
Yeah,
It's going to
and
see what you're made of.
what I'm excited about, if I can real quickly, Austin, I'm really excited. Everything you said tonight, I'm that kind of driver as well. So now, we're on the same team, and I think that we can really become something lethal because the way you talked and described the way you approach your races and you have to, that's what the rookie guys need to learn is racecraft. You don't have to be the fastest guy. You have to be paying attention to fuel strategy. You got to be paying attention to your tires. Is it going to be worth it to go through white here? No, it's not. These guys are looking a little sketchy. I'm going to just be cool here. I'm going to go now. All these kinds of things that go into putting a race together. Don't get penalties. That's what makes people successful. And then on top of that, if you can run consistent lap times and just not drop off as, much, you put all that together and you're running top 3. You're running for wins. And, that's something that I try to do. And I think that that's what everybody should try to think about. And I'm always here to help people with that. But ultimately, you have to do your own thing. You have to figure that out on your own and learn to piece together a race completely. It's 200 laps. It ain't 5 laps, So.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. It's good.
To add on to all that, there was a bunch of people in the Discord this week talking about, what's a good lap time for the Roval? What's a good lap time? And I went on there and I'm like, road courses aren't all about lap times. You got to figure out your breaking points. I was teaching the people in the truck Discord there that you can't worry about the lap time on the road course. You got to hit your braking zones. You got to practice. You see how far you can get into the corners. You got to practice coming off the corner because you can be slow in but fast out. That's where you make up the time, and you can't overdrive the corner because if you overdrive one corner, you'll overdrive the whole lap. And you start, do some practice, clip the curb, see how far you can clip the curb, see how the truck's going to react to you hitting the curb like that, and go from there.
A lot of times slower is faster, more often than not.
Absolutely. And that's what comes with experience. And you guys are 2 of those that, especially Jersey, being one of the more experienced guys now left in the truck series to kind of guide those guys through. And Watt's going to bring some experience to his team. So it's awesome. Moving on real quick so we don't keep our fans waiting too long. Extreme, why don't you tell us a little bit about your goals for the rest of the season?
The first thing I want to do is congratulate Watt and Marsh on their Cup Series spots. That's definitely something to be proud of yourself for, and definitely going to be exciting to race against y'all. And for goals for me, my first goal is to catch back up to you and Austin on the wins. That's the first goal. But I think I'm at, now that I know I'm clinched into the playoffs with the win, I really want to focus on playoff points. So I think I'm around maybe 7 right now. I'll take a long stretch. I'm maybe 20. What am I aim for? Before we get to the playoffs, and I really just want to take, once we get to the playoffs, I really just want to take it one round at a time. A lot of people just want to get to the playoffs and all right, it's time to head to Vegas where our championship race is going to be, but it's just one race at a time where you can just slowly keep getting to that mark.
And it can easily get away from you, as shown in the Real Cup Series with Kevin Harvick. He won 9 races, but he didn't perform in one section of the playoffs and lost it. So you really got to take it race by race, round by round, and make sure you get there. But, emphasis on the stage wins and the race wins, for you, definitely a good goal to have as someone who's already locked in. And talking about locked in, we'll wrap it up. Austin, you got the points lead. You're sitting in a really good spot. So, what are your goals for the rest of the season?
Immediately, just like Extreme, just collect playoff points. That's really the only immediate goal I have. Just win races, stages. Yes, there's the bonus points for being at the top of the standings at the end of the season, but really I'm just looking. I need to be up front at stages and win races just to collect the playoff points, because when it comes to making the Final Four, at least one person has to make it on points. So it's nice to have that to fall back on. So
Absolutely.
that's the immediate goal, and then make the Final Four would be next, and then obviously it's a goal to win the championship, but we'll worry about that when we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Stream said it, race by race, round by round. But yeah, it's a good spot to be in, because stages definitely shouldn't be underestimated, especially in your spot. We've seen it. Jersey knows it. Comes down to 1 point sometimes.
Oh,
So,
yeah, it does.
you need to grab everything you get. And like you said, that's an interesting point about the Final Four. Somebody does have to make it on points, so that's going to be important. And the regular season bonuses are also important. So
I'm so
that's
far
gonna be
behind.
coming up, right? And last but not least, that's been your drivers. I know I've been asking a lot of questions, so I always do this at the end, and I'm usually run the show. I'll turn it over to Arkham since he's the lead commentator. But if any of the other drivers have any questions for me specifically as a driver, now's your time before we wrap it up.
I got one. How does it feel as a cup driver to come down, step down, and run in the truck races and put a whooping on some people sometimes? You were doing pretty well on Sunday, and it seemed like you just gave up there at the end. What happened?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I'll tell you what. There's never been a lower series race where I felt as a cup driver I'm just killing everybody. I mean, each one has been a challenge. I was the only driver in the summer series to win a race in the national series or both. So those guys
Screw
gave me
you.
a challenge. Obviously, those are the same people I'm racing now in the Cup Series, so it's no surprise that it was tough back then. But I'll tell you what, even with the guys now, it's been challenging, and you learn a lot. And I'll tell you what, you talked about Sunday. I was maybe going to take the lead there, and I hit a certain section on the wall, and it ruined my race. And I kind of got out of the way because I didn't want to ruin somebody else's race, because I was obviously angry, emotional in any race I race in, and I also just with a whole bunch of damage didn't want to be a moving chicane, so I just kind of pulled it off for the last couple laps and let people get by. But I took that information and used it in the cup race, and I can say for sure I didn't hit that section of the wall. I hit some other walls, but not that section, because I learned from that. So it's definitely fun. I would say obviously there isn't I feel like I should run towards the lead in those races, but the pressure isn't off. But I definitely want to speak to what Extreme and Austin said. The pressure or the competition is higher when we race in the Cup Series, but it's never off. So
Yeah,
that's,
I mean,
fun.
you look at the way it was at Michigan. I think we had 8 Cup drivers in the Michigan race, and they ran up front, but there was a truck regular got the win. So, like you said, the competition is high.
Yeah, and and Sparkly Marker was the only guy to win a race in a lower series this year so far. So it's definitely challenging.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I guess
got
we got
one.
time for one more question. Go ahead.
I got one.
All right,
Arkham,
we'll go
you
two
can
more.
go.
Two more.
Arkham,
We'll
you
get
go.
the 2 in. Real quick. Go ahead.
No, you go first.
Okay. mine's kind of more funny, but Slide, how does it feel that you could say sometimes half of the trouble in these Cup Series races is just really avoiding your teammates from quote unquote wrecking you?
Yeah, it's I've definitely, I can say that it's been my teammates that have on purpose or on accident wrecked me in all of the races I finished outside the top five. Yeah, and it was really just the road courses. I mean, we ran fantastic at Daytona, fantastic at Michigan as a team until some mistakes at the end of Michigan, but to start out the year 1, 2, 3, 4 was awesome. But yeah, Canadian Tire, we were in the lead, and one of our teammates got into one of our other teammates who got into another driver that ended up putting us all in the dirt. And then at the Roval, going into the stage 2 there, in the lead, another driver hits my teammate into me accidentally, and yeah, so I'm every time we're at a road course, I'm always looking in my mirror for my teammate.
Yeah, definitely trouble with the teammates early in the season.
Yeah, they're a bunch of bums. No, I love them to death.
All right,
They're
they
awesome.
they'll just have the talk or Tuesday morning, making cookies.
Yeah, the team meetings are very fun in MSJ Motorsports.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Well, I guess you could say the final thought on that is we are our best competition.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll put it that way.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Arkham, what do you got? Last question
Okay,
of the day.
so I got a question for, you, Slide Job, Jersey Devil, you can answer this as well. He was talking about how, his emotions were high after, Slide Job wrecked into the wall and stuff like that. For these rookies that are just joining the league or any league, is there any advice how to control your emotion during the race and just focus on what you're actually doing?
It's tough. And you can ask any of the Cup guys, or any of the guys in this league, but especially the Cup guys that we all go out there to win. We all go out there to race the best we can. Every point matters. So when you put that much time and effort into your weekend and you show up for the race and you expect to do well and something happens, whether it be your mistake or the mistake of somebody else, it's heartbreaking, especially when you have the passion that a lot of guys do. I know I have a ton of passion. I take every race seriously, even if it's a lower race for no points. I mean,
Same.
I race to win. So, I mean, it's when something happens, and like that incident, it was completely my fault. I wrecked myself, and no one else got even near me, and I was mad at myself. And then there's been other times like Canadian Tire where I felt like it wasn't my fault and I was also mad. So, I mean, the best thing I can tell you is you got to take it one turn at a time. It's hard, but, you got to, after the initial incident, you got to, like, refocus. Like, all right, it happened. It's over. I got to focus on the next thing. Focus on the next lap. Let's get back on the track. Let's, if we got damage, let's fix it. Let's put 4 tires on it, and let's salvage the day.
Exactly.
And sometimes, like you saw in the Charlotte race, if you're in a race where you're not racing for points and you feel like you're going to do something idiotic, pull it off to the side and take a breather for a moment. Collect yourself, keep going. If it's a points race, obviously, I wouldn't suggest it because you need the points, even if you lose a bunch, but and it's harder in that situation. But
Can I add something real quick?
sometimes, yeah, go ahead.
I feel like that's another part of racecraft, like I was talking about. Like, if you have something bad happen to you, you have to immediately damage control and just go out and just push harder than you probably would have a little bit. But a lot of times, other people are having their own race and their own problems, and things will come back to you. I've had a lot of races that can also make you deadly to be consistently in the top 5 or 10. Is you have a bad race, you don't get flustered. You just keep rolling, keep working forward. I've had a lot of races that's like, oh wow, I'm running like shit right now, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going, and then I end up finishing like 4th or something, and it's like, wow, that's not how I thought it was gonna go, but I didn't give up. I just kept rolling. I adapted to the way the race went. I took, you take advantage of cautions, you take advantage of strategy, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Mistakes.
important. Yeah, you
Mhm.
not only when you run good, you want to stay running good, but when you're not doing good, you have to still try to figure out how to get good and
Yeah.
take advantage of. So just wanted to say
Can
that.
I elaborate?
And
real
those
You
are
know,
the
on
real quick. Those are the kind of moments that build a champion, right
Yes.
there. And
Mhm,
I do
absolutely.
wanna. I know all of us could talk for hours and hours about it, but we are hitting over an hour and a half, or hour 15 minutes. So I do want to wrap it up there, but. We will be back after a couple more weeks, probably around after race number 10. We'll have maybe some familiar faces and some new faces in the race hub, but I do appreciate everybody coming out and watching, and I do appreciate all the drivers: Arkham Boss, Austin Icon, Intimidator, Jersey Devil, Marshmallow, Watt Racing, and Extreme Shocks for joining me. It's been awesome and fun. And I wish good luck to all these drivers and all of the drivers in Fast Family Racing League. And we will see you next time for another Fast Family Race Hub.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
See ya.
Yeah.